Folks, welcome into the Midstate 48, powered by Miracle Auto Group, running 4 wide tonight as usual with Joe, Scott, and Cam. Gentlemen, good evening to you.
Yo.
Evening.
Yes, we've hit the midpoint of the regular season and a lot to talk about tonight. First off, let's get your impressions on Week 5 real quick before we move into the meat of the show.
I think a lot of the teams we have ranked highly took care of business. Father Ryan getting upset by NBA. Upset the week for the game Scott and I were at. I mean, Independence looked really, really good, and I think they're going to be a factor in that region.
Yeah, I think that in reality, we've gone through the early part of the season. For the most part, we've had a lot of out-of-region games and things that now we're going to start seeing some of those the cream rising to the top, playing their region schedule. Things are going to get a little bit put it this way, starting this week, things are going to get a lot clearer on what's going to happen in November, December.
Yeah, the two teams that really stuck out to me were, a Lipscomb Academy team that a lot of people wrote off, was able to get a big win over Innsworth last week. Kind of showed that, they're still going to be a player in Division II AAA, so I was impressed with their performance. And then a Green Hill team that went on the road to crosstown rival Lebanon and got down early. And just something about Coach Crouch's team in their second half performance. I mean, I don't know if it's his adjustments at halftime or the will to win or what it is, but this Green Hill team in the second half is just a totally different football team. And they steamrolled Lebanon in the second half and are 5-0 heading into another big region game this week.
Yeah, there are 13 teams in our coverage area that are unbeaten after 5 games, and if you'll go to our website, we'll check out all 13 and kind of how I think that the second half might go for them. There won't be 13 teams after this week. There's several play each other. That's part of the big schedule this week. We've talked about Week 6 for a while, about it being a very good schedule for top games, and region games are playing into that. So we'll talk about those and who you got later this evening. But I want to start off first off because a bit of controversy coming up after the Friday games about officials enforcing knee pads. And there was a letter that was distributed to coaches and athletic directors. Apparently, we don't know who all got them and who didn't because the messaging is all over the place on this. But I'm going to read part of this real quick. After sending 3 players of a team out of the game for required player equipment missing or worn improperly, each subsequent player of that team sent out of the game for required player equipment missing or worn improperly shall constitute an unsportsmanlike conduct foul. My English teacher would absolutely hate that sentence. The foul is assessed against the head coach of that team. Multiple players sent out of the game at the same time each count toward the 3 players. Sending 3 players out at one time counts as 3 players, not 1. This was part of a letter that was distributed. It says this is effective immediately as directed by Richard McQuarter, who's over the football portion of the TWSAA. Joe, you're shaking your head. I know you've got some thoughts on this. We've seen this a lot because a lot of players are getting sent off for knee pad issues, not being too low or whatever. I get that they're trying to enforce this for safety reasons, but I think that the communication here was just absolutely abysmal because there are a lot of coaches in ADC and they didn't see this at all. And from what I have read and researched on this, the TWSAA did not send this communication to teams last week. This was apparently distributed by the Officials Association in Nashville.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Along with that, Scott saw me rant a couple weeks ago at Brentwood Hendersonville, but before snap even went off, the game had been stopped 5-6 times.
Yes,
because the Brentwood kid had his knee pad slightly above his knee. I'm sorry. Those things don't do anything. They're just there. I get it's part of the rules, but who cares? College football players aren't wearing knee pads anymore. Look at Sam Hartman on Saturday. I'm a big Notre Dame fan. I've watched him all year, obviously. He doesn't wear knee pads. I get it's a safety thing. Knee pads don't do anything. Sorry, they don't. It's not that big of a deal. And if they're gonna, it makes me mad. I just think it's dumb.
Well, I think rules are going to be rules. I understand that, and I understand if that's what you enforce. But you would think that this would actually come from TSSAA, not from the officials. So, you have to wonder what was the motivation behind that. Were the officials, I know that they're training new officials now, so there's a lot of focus on getting these new officials up to speed and everything like that. And I wonder if it became something of a teaching issue, and then all of a sudden, when it started happening, like Joe was talking about, when you start sending off 4, 5, 6 at a time, if they just wanted to throw the emphasis back on the coaches instead of throwing it on themselves and catching all the flack for slowing games down.
And I want to say something real quick, because I'm not like putting this on the referees. They've got enough on their plate as it is. This is coming from above them, and that's where my anger is directed.
Yeah,
it ain't really anger for me. It's frustration and being sort of sympathetic for the coaches, so to speak. The biggest thing is consistency. You get one crew that enforces it to a severe level, to the point to where they do stop the game and they literally inspect every kid's knee pads. And then you get guys that do not care, so it comes down to consistency. And if an association is going to go through the precautions to send out a letter like that and to enforce rules like this, they better hope that they have consistency in that association, or else there's going to be some big problems.
Wasn't there something about eye black and towels in there too? Did I hear you say that?
I believe, eye black was also
a big
mentioned.
one,
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Let the kids wear what they want. They're high school kids. If you're wearing eye black, why does that matter?
Yeah, and anger on my part might be a little too strong of a word here, but I mean, it is frustrating to see this because it seems like the association's gone rogue.
I agree with the comment I just saw. The mouthpiece, yes, I agree with that. That should be enforced. I get it. But the towels, the eye blacks, these kids want to look cool. Like they want to go out there, they want to put on a show. Look good, feel good, or look good, play good.
Yeah, this is well done. The coach plays says the big issue is hardly any players wear knee pads on Saturdays and Sundays. So high school kids try to follow suit. The biggest one that needs to stay enforced is mouthpiece for concussions. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point.
Well, and to me, also the nature of the uniform, you look at it, those things don't stay down.
No.
When you start moving and when you start running, those things move up, and you constantly see kids pulling them down. I mean, if that's the issue, then we've got a design issue.
We've got to come up with a
different way. I don't know whether it's a knee brace that goes down lower than the knee into the shin or something like that. If that's the case, we've got to alter the way the uniform is instead of them constantly tugging at that to where it is uniform. And we've got to make it affordable for the school systems to get that, because I was out at a game the other day, and I watched a kid who, for some reason or other, had to change pants. They did not have another set of pants, and so he looked like he was wearing a pair of my pants. I mean, they were just baggy all over the place.
Yep, that's a great point. Why not go the baseball rack? Got some old-fashioned stirrups. I mean, hold them down a little bit.
There you go.
I mean, just if we have to do, it is a design issue to me. I mean, that was one of the first things that popped in my head. These manufacturers are trying to push the limit on performance. I understand what they're trying to do, but they're also pushing the line on rules. And when you make them so short that there's no room for error, when you have kids trying to stuff pads in there, and the general movement of players themselves can move these pads a lot above the knee.
Yeah.
We've got to have some common sense in here. It's just the bottom line.
Yeah, and to go back to your point, you're not blaming the individual referees.
No.
They've been given rules to enforce.
Mhm.
And for better or worse, they're enforcing those rules. But it's coming from above. There's something pushing that down, and for some reason or another, it's become a point of emphasis.
Yeah, it's one more thing for them to have to look at before the ball is snapped that is taking away from something potentially more egregious. Like, for instance, at Lipscomb Academy, I had a double number on a field goal attempt that was missed because officials are looking at other things, and knee pads are one of them. Those are the things that we miss because we're trying to look at something that, in the grand scheme of things, isn't making that big of a difference.
And those guys have enough to. I mean, they're watching player after player after player, and they're it's hard enough to get those calls right without having to be fashion police out on the field. And I mean, I understand that it's frustrating for them. They don't want to do it either.
Yeah,
I'm sure that none of them want to throw a coach out for that.
No,
but I mean, their hands are tied with what the rules are.
Yep. But just the whole idea of how this was sent out, and some teams got them right before kickoff last week. I mean, that's inappropriate. That's inappropriate to give this stuff to coaches right before kickoff. I'm sorry.
And not to all of them, right?
Right.
Only to some.
Yeah.
But not to all.
I mean, that's why if the TSSAA sends this out early in the week, fine, we're not talking about this. But apparently this wasn't the case. And
yeah, you can call it inappropriate, but I think it's quite embarrassing, honestly, to just spring that on somebody right on the spot. And I do think, though, that they have received a fair backlash for their actions, though.
I don't know if it's enough,
understand why.
But it is what it is, and I'm sure that this is a thing we're going to continue to see over the second half of the season. These stoppages aren't going to stop, so we can sit here and debate it all day long, complain about it all day long, but other than that, if they're going to continue to force it, it's going to still be a thing. So
it's going to be really. I'm sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm just going to say I'm going to be real interested to see who the first coach is that gets thrown out.
Hopefully, there's none. I really hope that there's none thrown out over this, because we've sat here like for the last 7-8 minutes and kind of went about all the ways why it shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
But here we go.
I will say I hope it's none too, but there's a couple of them I'd kind of pay just to see it on video.
Cam, ever the harbinger of chaos.
There we go. There's the gear shift that we needed right there. Get this thing back on track. So, that's one of those things that you hate to have to talk about it, but it is there nonetheless. So, let's see. Now, let me pause for a second while we get ready to present our players of the week. And they are presented by Miracle Auto Group, and I'm going to share my screen so we can do just exactly that.
Huh.
It's a little slow to load tonight, so
good group this week.
It was a good group, absolutely.
Very good group.
Yep.
Very hard group to choose between, for sure.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was.
Yep, it absolutely was, and those players of the week are brought to you by Miracle Auto Group up there in Gallatin, and there they are. AJ Barbat from Brentwood Academy, Pages Eric Hazard, Jackson Strout from Gallatin, Braden Graham from Riverdale, Elijah Robb from Pope Prep, and Middle Tennessee Christian Schools, Eli Wilson were the 6 that came up with big performances. Now, don't ask where Tyson Walcott from Friendship Christian is. He's already won one. He can't win again in the regular season, so let's just throw that out there right now. The fans' vote went to Jackson Strout, 42.5%, and Gallatin really showed out in the last 24 hours to push him to get their vote. So he's getting one vote on this. Scott, you went with Elijah Robb.
I did. I thought that Pope Prep just really saddled up and ran the ball really well. He had 30 carries. What was it? 272 yards. He basically was the offense this week against Good Pasture. It was Good Pasture, right?
Yep.
Yes.
It was, yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm not completely crazy.
Debatable.
Joe, you went with Braden
I'll
Graham.
take notice.
I just thought. I know Jackson would also only threw one incomplete pass. He also had 5 touchdowns. But you look at how big of a game that Rockvale Riverdale game was to Riverdale. I mean, this is a Rockvale team that beat them last year. Riverdale. I mean, this is essentially for that 2 spot in the region, and Braden was as close to perfect as you can be. I mean, he only had 1 incomplete pass, 301 yards, 4 touchdowns, and Riverdale cruised to a win. And they're in a really good spot to compete for that top number 1 seed in that region now.
Cam, you followed suit with Braden Graham.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much just verbatim what Joe said. It was a competition thing for me. I feel like out of those 3, it was these 3 that I had to choose between. But I felt like Braden Graham's performance in a good bounce back performance for Riverdale after going on the road and getting a tough loss at Germantown and against a team in Rockville that upset Stewart's Creek the week before. So they were coming in hot, and Riverdale and Braden Graham and that offense just never let them catch their breath out of the start. So I had to go with Braden Graham.
I went with Elijah Robb. Pope Prep has undoubtedly struggled the first half of the season, but they've won 2 straight, and both were region games. And this win against Good Pasture clinched a playoff spot for them. And he had to be huge in it, and that's kind of why I went with it. Now, Elijah Robb, when you run for that many yards against a region foe, it's worth noting. And they're going to be a playoff team because of it, even though they struggled. So my vote went to Elijah Robb, but it's going to wind up being Braden Graham. He had the higher vote total in the fan poll, and the tiebreaker goes to him. So Riverdale's Braden Graham is our Miracle Auto Group Player of the Week for week number 5, and I've got some hardware that I'll be delivering over there to Murfreesboro very, very soon. So
I'll tell you, it was really tough with those 2 defensive players as well on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good to see we got some defensive representation on there too, though. We always like to see that.
Yeah, and I'll just add this in. Eric Hazard could be on that list every week.
No
Seems
doubt.
like it. Yeah.
Probably the best linebacker in our area.
Yep. Line of the week time now. This was completely fan voted, and there were 5 finalists from last week. Friendship Christian's defense, Gallatin's defense, Macon County's defense, Nolensville's offense, who racked up more than 500 yards against Franklin, and then Oakland's defense had very little trouble with Blackman. And full vote totals go to Gallatin's defense, nearly 32%. Pretty close vote, though. Nolensville and Macon County gave him a run for it, but Gallatin had a late push to get the Green Wave defensive line their Line of the Week award presented by Miracle Auto Group. So congratulations to the Green Wave guys up there.
I'll be delivering some hardware to Gallatin for that.
Yeah. All right. We'll turn this screen off and come right back here.
Hey.
As always, thanks to Miracle Auto Group for sponsoring those awards. And do I have an ad ready to go? I do not. I have
work on it. Now I'm going to say, hey, you on the couch there. Yeah, you need a car. Need a car. You know you do. Don't look at him. Yeah, you go down to Miracle Ford and go down and get you a car, or go get you a Jeep. You know you want one. Hey, don't look at them. You look at me. Here. Miracle. Go to Miracle Auto Group. Get you something you need. They'll take care of you, I promise.
Yeah, we'll have some.
I couldn't tell the difference between the actual ad and what Scott just did there. It was just
He's got to dance. That's the difference. It ends in them dancing. So
you gotta
do a little jingle there.
Yeah,
buddy.
you're not gonna see me. Yeah. You're not gonna see me singing on this thing.
Yeah, probably for the best.
Well,
probably
yeah, I was gonna say that. We want to keep our sponsors.
Yeah. Yeah. Apologies for not having those ads loaded. We're just going to go right on to what everybody else is waiting for this week. So, guys, it's time to apologize. All right. Yeah, people love this segment for whatever reason. I guess they like to see us eat pie.
They like to give us hell. It's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't see Corso and Herb Street and them doing it.
No. But it gets eyeballs, so why not? You know what? I'm going to start us off this week because
Good call.
I made a boo boo, and I'm going to have to apologize for it. So I'll own it. Hendersonville. I feel ashamed. I had no faith whatsoever that you all would be Siegel. I went with hot hand, and what did I get burned? Tried to use the trend of Sumner County teams not winning big games like that, and that get back in my face too. Tried, wanted to believe, but I didn't. Now I sit here humbly begging for forgiveness. I offer this though, in hopes that you'll accept. You got a big game against Beach this week. I'll have you back. Just a little spoiler about who you got coming up. But for a team that I've covered for so long up there at Sumner County, to throw this back in my face is expected, and I'm okay with it. Pick that I'll make 10 out of 10 times, and I'll own it. Because it favors the goal. And it's going to favor the goal this week because I think it's good. So hopefully you'll accept this. My apologies, because I'm sorry.
I don't have an Oscar. I can give you King George.
All right. I got mine right here. Thank you.
That was the most heartfelt I feel like you've been all season, to be honest.
It's taken me 5 weeks. It's taken me 6 weeks to get there.
I felt that. I felt that in my.
You were more sincere than Linus and the Pumpkin Patch.
And like the Grinch at Christmas, I'm going to have to, go back in hiding again after all that stuff because I don't like it at all. That doesn't feel good.
Yeah, it's not great.
All right, Scott, I'm going to let you go next.
Okay.
And I'm going to choose your music this way too.
Okay. Don't make it the Benny Hill music. Dixon County. I don't know what to say. I region game, and I went with the new and shiny, and didn't stay with the tried and true. It was a mistake. I wish I could take it back, but I can't. It's on film. Can't believe I doubted you. And boy, did you make me regret it with a flourish and a passion. I hope you find it in your heart to forgive me, but I understand if it takes you some time. I'll be here, and I'm sorry.
It's the look down every time that gets me.
It's the look down and then the puppy dog eyes.
Yeah.
I love you, baby. There was an earthquake, a terrible flood. It wasn't my fault, I swear.
I'm gonna let that one marinate for a minute.
Yeah, that was good. God,
we've gotten decent at these, and
I'm used to apologizing, guys. I am so.
It's been married for a long time.
30 years, you'll get used to apologizing too.
Cam, you're up next. I'm interested to hear yours.
Mine wasn't real tough to pick this week. I had one team that I picked against. Honestly, I think it might be the first time I've ever picked against them. Have several connections over there. It was my toughest game to pick last week. But ultimately, the Green Hill Hawks proved me wrong. And not only did they prove me wrong, they pretty much embarrassed me by using the key to the game that I gave in being special teams. And that's how they grabbed momentum to win the game. So not only did they prove me wrong, they embarrassed me utterly last week. And to Josh Crouch and EJ Wood and our buddy Christian Capozzi and the rest of the Green Hill Hawks, I apologize sincerely. And I will never, at least, little spoiler. Chris gave a spoiler. I'll give another spoiler. I won't pick against you this week. Let's just say that. So I apologize.
You said never, and then you're like, I'm not going to pick against you this week.
No take backs. No take backs.
You can take C-backsies.
Well, never goes beyond this year.
Right.
And
That's
unfortunately, I will say this to any Green Hill Hawks faithful. I don't think you're going to win every game for the rest of history. So,
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Joe took a page from my playbook. It played out in front of him, and he felt the need to apologize in person. So here's that one.
Luke McNeely. Kind of like we did last week with JoJo Crump and Chris. He gave out his apology on the field. I'll give out mine today. Luke here, 3 touchdowns tonight, led Independence to a 28-7 win. Statement win. You balled out. I can't help but say I'm sorry, man. You proved me wrong. You proved us all wrong. Yes, sir. But not sure how much we'll be picking against you guys later this year. This is a huge win. Congratulations. Good luck going forward.
I appreciate it.
Hey, good luck, man.
Joe, just a hint. If you ever get married, get her name right, dude. Especially if you're apologizing.
It was a long night. Luke was a good sport. He scored 3 touchdowns. I'm sorry, Indy. I regret picking against you. Scott Stidham's got himself a really good ball team over there.
He does. He absolutely does.
Yep. And spoiler alert, they're going to be in one of our top 10 games to pick in the next segment. So those are our apologies for the week. Tune in next week for more riveting, heart-wrenching drama.
I think we're going to have some good ones next week.
Let's try to atone for our terrible picks. Oh, okay. Well, guys,
are we atoning for our horrible picks, or are we just trying to save face to the coaches? This question. Maybe a little both.
Oh,
right?
it's totally for the picks. It's totally for the picks.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah.
I don't care.
Here's the thing. If we atone for our picks, that does serve 2 purposes. No,
I just love, we have gotten a great feedback from this, but it's the kids more than anything.
Yeah.
And, that's what we do it for. So.
Oh, they love it.
Well,
and I love to see that they've gotten better about not like begging and asking for apologies. That makes it a lot easier on us.
I mean, they're balling out. So I don't mind. Eating a little crow. So.
Yep. Well, normally we would run another ad, but since I'm a doofus and didn't load them this week, let's go ahead and make some more of these terrible picks. That's who you got. This wasn't awful last week, but it wasn't great either. But we'll pull the numbers up from last week.
Freaking
shout out to Reggie,
man.
Shout out to Reggie. Let's just pause and give him his props because he certainly earned it. I mean, when you're under 500 and you pull a week like that out to get above the to get above water. That's special
Yeah.
right there.
The cat has 3 told you so's on the season. What is happening?
That's special kitty right there. That's what that is.
Yes. No risk, no reward.
I'm gonna use
Yep.
my kitten to make my picks going forward.
I mean, like I said, fortune favors the bold, so you got to stick your neck out there every now and then. It's a 3-way tie at the top. The fans are right behind, and Cam's in shouting distance too. This is all very, very close through the first half of the season on this show. Now look at the overall numbers, and
I'm still
It's looking
trying to
for
figure
you.
out why Chris got top billing on that. I beat
because
him last week.
you didn't pass me. You only tied me.
Alphabetical order.
Oh, okay.
I have more
Thank
than
you,
one
Joe.
reason to do
Thank
it.
you.
No. It's like in
I
WWE.
just say
you can't
because
get
I
to
said
the-
so. That's why.
Man, I like this. I like this graphic quite a bit. That looks
Well,
good
I could
right
say.
there.
I mean, I could always use because I said so, but would that really do anything? I mean, I want to actually justify it.
Hey,
And I can.
I had the
have-
best
I have
record
multiple
last year
places.
in the least told you so's. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's true.
If that form holds,
Yeah, this. Well, I mean, Cam always makes a point, and it's solid. We're if you're picking over 75%, that's not a slouch.
hey,
Pretty good.
who else is picking 50+ games a week? Nobody.
we're not going to name any names, but other media outlets only pick 6 or 7.
10 maybe.
10
Yeah.
usually.
We do 10 on this show, but every Thursday morning at 9:00, you can get the rest of our area's picks right there in one place.
Who's that underneath my name? Told you so. 6.
Oh, see, look at him. You're looking for it. Did you like how I brightened that up so you could actually read it?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, let me
I
get
did that for you.
spectacles on here.
I did that for you. I did that for you, Scott.
Thank you.
So you could see just a little bit brighter, because
Appreciate that.
because we care. All right. This is fun though. Here we go.
Yeah.
First game up tonight. I don't know if I should get over there. Let's go to the recap screen from last week first off. See those 2 stars beside Reggie, 2 more told you so's.
Well, I like the graphic.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
little
it
revamp
looks good.
screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Decent.
Decent amount of accurate picks as the washing machine decides it wants to run at 300 miles an hour beside me. Literally, it's going.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
definitely
Just
some
wait till it
big-
gets off balance.
Ooh.
Exactly. First up tonight, Antioch at Stewart's Creek, and Reggie right off the bat says he's going with Antioch. The rest of us are at Stewart's Creek. 66.4% of the fans go with the Red Hawks. Now, this is for first place in this region, too. This is a big game between these two teams, and Antioch has been much improved in the first half. The winner here has everything in front of them as far as the region
Yeah.
titles.
3 weeks ago, Stewart's Creek all day. I'm comfortable with the pick. I had to think about this one. Stewart's Creek had a loss a couple weeks ago to Rockville that I thought that they would win. But ultimately, I had to stay with Stewart's Creek just because of the talent at the skill position players with Kenny Jordan and Ote. But Antioch proved us wrong against Cane Ridge, so they could do it again.
Yeah, we knew going in this year that Devin Arnold would have his team improved over last year. Takayan Whitset is just a beast at defensive end. I think he had 3 sacks. I think it was last week. He's just he's running down rushers, getting after the quarterback. But let me tell you, this quarterback that they have, this Andre Adams, he's a freshman, but he has grown up quickly. He does a really good job. He's got great pocket presence. He takes off with the ball or deliver it on a rope. This Antioch team is really, really good. But I tell you what, the Stewart's Creek team is just one bad game where they made too many mistakes and couldn't get them back from being undefeated. And that running back tandem that they've got back there with Kenny Jordan and Ote, that's tough for anybody to stop.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a fun game. It'll be pretty close. I think you'll see a lot of points in there. Antioch can put up points. Stewart's Creek can put up points. I just think Stewart Creek's a little deeper overall as a team. They've been building up these last couple of years, and I think they pull away late to really cement themselves at the top of the region.
Yeah, I think Antioch is kind of where Stewart's Creek was last year, and they're building for something for the next couple of years. But this might be Stewart's Creek's time, and I think with that backfield with Javeri Note and Kenny Jordan, that's going to be tough to stop. And Antioch will put up a good fight, but I think the Red Hawks are going to move on and move toward that number 1 seed. Beach and Hendersonville, that crosstown rivalry up there in Sumner County, and we're kind of split on this one. Cam is going with the Buccaneers, so is Reggie, and the fans were largely split too, but they leaned Hendersonville 53.1% on the Commandos. Cam, you got the Bucks. Talk about it.
Yeah, I just think that it is, Hendersonville's played some tough competition, but I feel like the toughest competition Hendersonville has played dominated them, and that would be Brentwood. And that is one of the main reasons why Brentwood is our number 1 team in the high classification rankings. But Beach has a couple tough losses, and they've, for the most part, defensively have been pretty good, and they've done fairly well against the pass. You look at a Riverdale team that has a great passing attack. They gave up 16 points and 3 field goals out of those 16 points. So I just like Beach to go. Coach Crabtree, before a couple of weeks ago, he hadn't lost back-to-back games since 2014. And, that was 9 years ago. So I think Coach Crabtree will be able to get the ship righted. I think Caden Powell will come out and have a good game. I do look for this one possibly to be a little bit more high scoring, though. Maybe the first one to 28 wins.
Last week we saw a running quarterback put up some numbers against Beach's defense. I know different style of offense than what they'll face this week against Hendersonville, but I think that could really hurt them again this week. Sorry, Matt. The Wings were great last week. Had to see a little more out of Beach's offense. I think they get it going a little bit more this week, but Hendersonville coming off a great win over Siegel last week, and I think they kind of control it with this game with their ground game. I agree with Cam though. First 28 wins maybe, or it could be a really low scoring game with the way both defenses play.
Yeah, again, apologies, Matt. The sauce was the boss, let me tell you. But I wish that I could have picked, and it was tough. It was really tough for me to pick this game, but Beach looked just really sluggish on offense last week. I didn't think that the line got any good push against Independence until late. The quarterback just doesn't look like he's comfortable in the pocket. But that was then. This is now. I understand that, and this is a rivalry game, so a lot of it goes out the window. But like Joe said, I think that Mason Baker has a good game here. I think that this is the type of team that they're the type of team that can give Beach some trouble. I think it's a very close game. I think that this game has historically been a who makes the least mistakes game. And if I was going on that, Beach might be where I go, but I just think that Mason Baker gives Hendersonville just enough of ability to run or pass and to adjust that they'll come out of this. And they're playing at home, which is another factor, home field factor.
Yeah, historically it's been win the field position battle, don't have penalties, play well on special teams, and cash in on opportunities when they present themselves. That's what this game has been about over the past few years. And I've already said it. I'm going Hendersonville in this one. So anybody that needs to validate my apology, there it is. So I'm going with the Commandos as well.
I have a feeling if Beach wins this, it'll either be me or Joe.
Yep. Dixon County at Clarksville is up next, and another game for first place. in their region up there in Montgomery County. Clarksville has steamrolled everybody they played. Dixon County presents probably their best test so far.
Look at Reggie picking the cat again.
Well, I
Either
mean,
way,
I
you
know
would
I
pick
just,
the cat.
He had a choice though.
yeah,
That's
Cougars
true.
or
That's
Wildcats.
true.
I know I just apologized to Dixon County, which makes this really awkward, by the way. They did flex their muscle against Kirkwood last week. They, McCaleb Frazier and Malachi Redmond, they rolled out to a 29-point halftime lead and really flexed their muscle. It's going to be an interesting game. They bring their smokestack up to Clarksville and try to do the one thing nobody's been able to do yet, which is stop the Wildcats. But what's really interesting is that Isaac Shelby with Clarksville will be playing a little bit of I don't know, Darth Vader to Tomlinson's Obi-Wan Kenobi. The student is taking on the master here because Shelby was coached in school by Tomlinson. So it's going to be really interesting to see just how this plays out this week.
Good reference there, Scott.
Yeah.
I said earlier in the year, I think Clarksville runs the table at least through the regular season. Dixon County really, really impressed me last week with the way they kind of slowed down. I mean, Kirkwood had been offensively just steamrolling everybody they played, putting up a bunch of points. And that Dixon County defense stood up. And then, like Scott said, they flexed. Clarksville, though, I think they're a little deeper. I could see this being a close game early on, and Clarksville just kind of pulls away late.
Yep. Yeah, and shout out to Dixon County too, because I mean this has been a program that had struggled past decade or the latter part of the last decade. And
Yeah, I think that win against Kirkwood, barring a matchup with Rossview later on in the year, could get Dixon County a home playoff game. So kudos for them for finally getting out of that tough region too. So there's life now for Cougar fans. And, one thing that Clarksville, yes, schedule-wise, they've not really beaten anybody. They've not beaten anybody with a winning record, really. But they've dominated to the point of they've only given up 28 points in 5 games. Yeah. So, when you do that, chances are that you're going to win a lot of football games.
Yeah, they're not struggling with anybody right now, and that's the mark of at least a pretty good football team.
You beat the teams you're supposed to beat.
Yep. Next up. It's East Nashville and FRA. It's a couple of unbeaten teams that'll square off over here, not too far from me, over at Franklin Road Academy.
East Nashville's going to win this game because of Reggie.
He didn't.
I don't know. He picked against the Cats.
Yeah, but every time we pick a team, all 4 of us pick a team straight up, the other one wins.
We have to probably track that trend and see it. It's probably really true. It's probably a high number.
Oof.
That's happened.
One thing I will add though, you said what you said, Joe. So, but how many of those times has Ty Clark been on the other team?
That's true.
Fair point.
I think FRA is kind of proving that they're more than just Ty Clark though this year. They really deep team. CPA fans didn't like when we put FRA over them. I get it. I think it's literally a paper thin between them and CPA for that 2-3 spot. I've just been really impressed with what FRA has been able to do against teams they should beat. They're blowing them out. Ty Clark's putting his name right in the mix there for a Mr. Football award later in the year. I can't remember the quarterback's name. He's been putting up numbers though. Running the ball, he can throw a little. This is going to be a huge test for East Nashville just to see where the Eagles are. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any fashion, but I just think FRA, a lot of experience, and I think that pays off in the end.
Yeah, I was a lot more interested in this one before last week's East Nashville game. Yeah. They struggled a little bit more than what I would have imagined against Liberty Creek last week. Leading 14-13 in the second half, wound up winning 27-13. But that's a game where I thought that they maybe should have won by twice as much as they did. But who knows? Maybe things happen in games. it's a learning feat for Coach Harris and the Eagles, and they may come out ready to play. But FRA has just been on a roll at the start of the year, so I went with FRA.
Yeah,
I think this game is going to be won in the trenches. I think that uh, FRA's line is really really big and really physical. I think East Nashville's is a little bit more of quickness. Um, they run the ball well. East Nashville runs the ball great. I mean, Keith Johnson's averaging 8 yards a carry. He's already got 11 rushing touchdowns on the season. Um,
Sophomore.
yeah, he's a sophomore. Yeah,
It's crazy.
and yeah, the other thing is that I don't think if FRA's line shuts down that running game, which is a tall task, and forces Martez Johnson to throw, there will be opportunities for the defensive backfields to make plays, and I think that will be a large part of it. I look for FRA to focus on stopping the run, making East Nashville go to the pass, and if they can do that, I think it's going to bode in FRA's favor.
yeah, Joe. I want to piggyback on what you said earlier. This FRA team is largely the same cast of characters, minus a couple of standouts who have graduated to that team that went into CPA last year and beat the Lions. So, I mean, there's a reason we've got them above CPA at the moment, but it is close. It is.
I will
really
say this
close.
about East Nashville. Last week they struggled against a team that primarily, I think, throws the ball in Liberty Creek.
Mhm.
They're going to go against something they're more familiar with, I think, this week with a heavy running FRA team. But yeah, it should be a fun one out there. I mean, this is going to be a really exciting game.
Yep, one of those unbeaten matchups that we've been talking about for a couple of weeks, and Friendship Christian, Middle Tennessee Christian is another one, and it's assumably for the region title over there in Murfreesboro next on Friday night. And Scott's taking the Cougars, but everybody else is on the Commanders.
Yeah. Yeah, well, here we go sub-referencing again. It's like Marvel Civil War here. I mean, you want Team Cap, you want Team Iron Man, you want Team Wilson, or you want Team Walcott. Both of them are. Well, Walcott's over 1,000 yards rushing, but Wilson's right there with him. I really think that I looked at this and I just feel like Middle Tennessee Christian is ready to take that next step. And I think that being at home, that gives them a little bit of the edge. I just feel like this is their time.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, this was one of those games where I think it could go either way. You won't get an argument out of me. Last year, this was a 28-7 win for Friendship Christian. I know Garrett Weekly's gone. Brock Montgomery is now at Riverdale. But defensively, Friendship Christian brought back a lot. Their offensive line is huge. MTCS's offensive line is huge. Something's got to give. I just think Tyson Walcott in the end makes a couple more plays on both offense and defense, and Friendship Christian walks out of here with a one possession win.
Yeah, I think it's tight for sure. Reason why I lean Friendship is that not only the experience factor. I know they graduated several last year, but they still have some good seniors, including Tyson Walcott. But for me, it's more about a expectation of winning games like this. When you play tough games like this, region championship games, quarterfinal games, semifinal games, if you can win those, you get to the point to where you expect to win them. And I believe Friendship Christian is at that point. And ultimately, but we talk about both of them having stud running backs, right? Tyson Walcott and Eli Wilson. But I believe Friendship has more behind Tyson than Middle Tennessee Christian does. The emergence of Luke Sellers, that was the question coming into the year for Friendship Christian was who's going to play quarterback? Garrett Weekly graduated. Brock Montgomery transferred. Are they going to have a passing game? And they come out in the first week. And if I'm not mistaken, Luke Sellers was up for our Player of the Week award.
Yep.
So it's one of those things to where Friendship has reloaded and not rebuilt. So I went with Friendship Christian, but I will tell anyone that is going to be in attendance especially if you are a hot dog fan. Best hot dog, concession hot dog in Middle Tennessee at Middle Tennessee Christian. So get you a hot dog.
There you go. That kind of a pseudo apology there, Cam, because I mean it's not, or at least a peace offering.
It's the best hot dog in Middle Tennessee for sure.
If I lose this one, I will do the apology to Friendship Christian, because I mean it's hard for me to go against Tyson Walcott. It really was. I just had a feeling this week. I mean, if he were in Colorado, he'd have a D stitched on his chest. He's a dog.
Yeah,
he might have the D and the L. Honestly, I mean, just the way he does both sides of the ball.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We have our Iron Brigade for two-way players at the end of the year, or all area two-way player team, and Tyson Walcott.
Spoilers.
Yeah, he's pretty much already on it. So
he was on it last year.
So there's no surprise there. But,
I am shocked to see the fan vote in this one being so high towards Friendship.
Yeah,
this was the toughest game for me to pick outside of the spotlight game.
Yeah, this was one of two that I had a lot of trouble with, and I could have went either way. It wasn't quite a coin flip, but I just went with the team that won last year because they've been playing at a high level again, and it's kind of hard to go against them because I'll hear about it if I don't. So I went with the Commanders in this one, but I won't be shocked if Middle Tennessee Christian wins this game. That's a good football team over there in Murfreesboro too, and maybe right now the second best team in Division II Single A, if we're having to talk about it. So
top three.
Yeah, one matchup to watch. The Perry kid from Middle Tennessee Christian going up against that offensive line for Friendship. I know Perry's being recruited as an offensive tackle, but he also plays defensive tackle. Yep. He could be a force for the Cougars.
Green Hill hosting Gallatin, and guys, I don't feel good now that Reggie's taking Gallatin. The rest of us are.
Gallatin's going to win this game.
I had a ton of trouble. This was the hardest game for me to pick this week. Honestly, I switched my pick up until I'm almost about to showtime. So,
oh wow,
that might have been a mistake. So if it goes wrong, I'll offer up the apology next week because
this was a difficult one. You're right.
Yeah, these are two both really well coached teams. Coach Strout comes over and he's turned things around immediately for Gallatin, and Josh Crouch is just doing Josh Crouch things over at Green Hill. Yep. Last week really proved that. I mean, they were down. The last two games they've been down in the first half. Now this week they cannot afford to do that against Gallatin. Gallatin has too many great weapons. They have a great quarterback in Jackson Strout, who last week only threw one incomplete pass. Being at home is a difference maker for Green Hill. I feel like they play like a different team when they're at home. And I think they make a few more plays offensively. I think 1st to 40 in this game wins, though. I think there's going to be a ton of points.
I concur, sir. And honestly, talking about the Gallatin offense, very similar style of offense to Tennessee in the fact that, Jackson Strout puts up all those numbers and they look good, but they like to run the football to set up the passes. So the key factor for them on offense is going to be Zakai and Brinkley. And guys, I know we've talked about Elijah Robb being a guard, but Zakai and Brinkley is the same thing. He could play guard, guys. He's 5'9", 245 pounds. He's a little bowling ball, and if he gets out in open field, I don't think there's a defensive back that can get lower than he can.
Yeah, if you get a chance to watch him in person or watch him on TV, it's amazing that players just seem to bounce off of him. I mean, he really has that Craig Ironhead Hayward vibe about him. I honestly think this is I think that this game may actually be won at the coin flip. Whoever gets the ball first and scores, the next one will score, and then I mean, it really could come down to whoever has the ball last.
I will say that just real quick, the reason why I went Green Hill, Gallatin's struggled with the pass game, defending the pass. So that's ultimately, and Kanan Burrows has come out of nowhere and is looking like, in a couple of years, we may be talking about him going to play Division I football at this rate. So He's a kid that come out of nowhere as a sophomore and has that Hawks team undefeated. So I went with Green Hill because of Gallatin's struggle with the pass.
My initial pick was Gallatin because of Sakai and Brinkley. I still think he can go for 150 yards and 2 scores in this one. But something about Green Hill, they just find ways to win games even when you don't think they should. And being at home up there on the hill is tough to go in there and win. Yeah, this is going to be an absolute shootout. And I like what Gallatin's done lately on offense. And they're humming along really well. They're in a good position for the second half of the year. But this might be a little bit tougher game than they've seen in the last couple of weeks. I'm siding with Green Hill, but I'll apologize to Gallatin if they win.
I'll be listening to that broadcast that they do over there, just because you have to at this point with this type of game.
Yeah, and just real quick, I know we don't want to look way ahead, but if this result happens and some other results later in the year happen the way we think, guys, this would set up possibly a Gallatin at Riverdale first round matchup.
Be a lot of fun.
Chris, you brought up Green Hill Magic for better or worse. I think that it always seems that Green Hill has a special teams score, play, whatever at home. It just seems that way. I think that this game could hinge on special teams, and that's what gave me the edge for Green Hill.
Yep. No, also too, if Green Hill does win this game, it could set up a Green Hill versus Mount Juliet 9-0 versus 9-0 game in week 11. If you want to think that far ahead, it's possible. It's possible. But if you
Let's not get excited yet.
If you read my analysis on the website today, you'd already know that.
Fireworks.
Pays to read. Nolensville Centennial. Joe, you're going to be over there for this one. Both teams 5-0, but we all have the same thought that the Cougars are going to walk out of there with a win.
Yeah, no disrespect to Nolensville. I just kind of looked at what each team has played this year. Nolensville's 5-0, but I don't think they've played a team that has a winning record right now. Centennial, what Independence did, how I saw Independence Friday night, it impressed me, not only for them, but for Centennial to be able to keep up with that, because it's tough to stop, and Centennial's been able to do that. It's just Centennial at home. I think Jamal's got himself a great program growing. Now, if Nolensville can find a way to slow down Dominic Reed, that's going to turn some things. I think that's really going to keep them in it. But I think Centennial walks out of this one with a 2-touchdown win and really cements themselves at the top of the region.
Yeah, I agree. I think Centennial is they're running on all cylinders right now. I really think this team believes. This team has a mission. Right now, I think that will they run the table? I don't know, but I don't think this is the week that they falter. I think they've just got a little bit too much firepower for what Nolensville's ready for at this point.
Yeah, it's a competition thing, and then not only the way, the fact that they beat Independence in overtime, but the way that they did it showed the character of this team. Down 16-2 against a team that primarily runs the football and is hard to stop. For them to be able to get enough stops to get that game to overtime to win it really shows what kind of program not only Coach Stewart but Coach Kreisky left behind as well. They have some character at Centennial, and yes, Dominic Reed is the lead cat, so to speak, the king cat, but the quarterback over there for them does a really, really nice job. I cannot pronounce his name. If one of you guys want to try to make a stab at that.
I ain't messing it up.
Scott, you want to take a try at it?
Same here.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, young man, we recognize you. You're playing great up to this point of the year. And whenever Joe is out there on Friday night, please help us learn how to pronounce your name, and we will recognize you appropriately.
That's how you do it right there.
Yeah.
That's how you do it right there. Yeah, Centennial. You guys made the point that they may not go 10-0 because they've got Brentwood coming up. Spoiler alert on that one. Stay tuned for an announcement on that game later this week. But Centennial's played fantastic ball so far, and they're putting themselves in the conversation for not just a deep playoff run, but maybe a run to the state championship game if they continue on this course. There's been no shortage of praise on Jamal Stewart's job over there because he has come in there and gotten this team to buy in to what he's selling, and it hasn't taken long because he has proven to be a coach that can lead a team and do it the right way, and it's showing up on the field. They've got the talent, they've got the coaching, and this Centennial team is a machine right now, and it's no disrespect to Nolensville because you don't go 5-0 by accident, but they're running into a really good football team, and we're going to learn a lot more about Nolensville this week, I think, than we actually do about Centennial because we know what Centennial can do.
Right.
Nolensville
We gave a pretty good shout. Sorry, Chris. We gave a pretty good shout out to Jamal Stewart, but what a great job Paul Derrick has done so far this year too. Losing as many guys like studs that he did to have this team 5-0 just speaks testament to his job as a coach.
Yeah, and they had a Franklin team come in there that was upset-minded and leading for a while, and then just find a way to win that game and keep themselves unbeaten. So, Nolensville's a good football team. We just need to find out a little bit more about them, I think. But in this game, that'll be the way to do it. Staying in Williamson County, Ravenwood at Independence. We've talked about Independence ad nauseum, but Ravenwood has quietly gotten back to 4-1 after that opening week loss to Alcoa. And Scott, you're buying in. You're taking the Raptors.
Yeah, that Ravenwood defense is just stout, and I think that they have the ability to slow down that option offensive Independence. I think it's going to be a close game. I think we may be headed to overtime again, quite frankly. But I just feel like they'll use Carter Pace to kind of try to keep Independence off the field and use that defense to keep this game close. And I think Ravenwood ultimately, I think Coach Hester just has a few tricks up his sleeves.
Yeah, I think this could be the first final score reported Friday night. Both teams want to run the football. Option style for Independence. Carter Pace for Ravenwood, a young man that unfortunately got hurt last year, but has started to find his groove this year. This was a tough one for me to pick, but Independence winning last week the way that they did. And then when you look at their schedule to this point, I think where a lot of people are really overlooking this Independence team, like severely. Week 1, Oakland, 34-14. Probably a little closer than what a lot of people thought. Okay? They have Centennial up against the ropes, and Centennial has to go to overtime to beat them. Page has them down 17-0. They come back and win it in overtime. That's showing character. That's showing grit. That's showing a darn good defensive football team that is holding teams enough to get to overtime. And, last week, that offensive performance, if their offense is coming along as well as it looks, guys, this is a team that, here in a few weeks when they play Brentwood, I mean, that's going to be a slobber knocker too.
Yeah, for me, it's the fact that Independence has found its offense. Last year, you look at this team, Coach Stidham's first year there. They have a 4-star tight end that ends up going to Alabama. They have a bunch of these offensive weapons that he's trying to really figure out where these kids should go because there's just so many of them. And I think it wasn't Stidham football. I think they figured that out last week against Beach on the road. That's a huge momentum win. If they can go back home, beat up on Ravenwood, and what I think is, I agree, Cam. I think it's going to be the first game reported Friday night because I don't think you'll see a lot of passing. However, Luke McNeely can complete some passes, guys. He did Friday night against Beach, a huge one that got him within scoring distance that put him up 2 scores. I think he has another big game, and I think Independence wins this one by 7. I don't think it goes to overtime, though. I hope for Coach Stidham's health, I hope it doesn't go to overtime.
Yeah, they've had enough overtime games for multiple seasons, not just this year.
He said he's had 5 his entire career going into this year.
And 3 this year, and that's we've said 2023 has been a bit of a strange year, and that's been part of it. But
Yep.
Hey, shout out to Ravenwood though. I mean, they've won 4 straight since that first week loss. They're putting themselves in a good spot to battle for a potential home playoff game. Really, this game is going to be decisive in that, because the winner here is going to maybe tangle Brentwood for the region title. But Ravenwood's been pretty good since losing to Alcoa. Independent.
This is a great coaching matchup.
Yeah, it really is.
It really is one of the best of the week, honestly, when you look at it.
Yeah. It's over under on when the score gets reported. I'm gonna say about 2 minutes after 9.
Yeah.
Could be.
Then again, watch it go to 4 overtimes. Just
Could
because.
be.
Just because. And that brings us to Springfield and Portland. And this one is an elimination game of sorts, because the loser of this one is going to need help getting in the playoffs with the region working out like it has, with Beach, Hendersonville, and Henry County ahead of them. We're all on Springfield this week. Guys, is there a world in where Portland has a chance to win this game?
Absolutely. If they can get their passing game going. That's been the issue all season for the Panthers. Last week, you look, they threw 4 or 5 interceptions in that game, had a couple return for touchdowns. Quarterback play has been an issue. If they can figure that out, this is the year they can get Springfield. Springfield's rebuilding after all those years of success. There's something, I don't know why, I just picked Springfield. There's something, I think their defense can come up with the turnovers they need, and I think this is going to be an ugly, low-scoring game.
C.J. Cobbins is why you pick Springfield.
That's fair.
Portland does not have an athlete of his caliber. They better not kick it to him, because a special teams score could make the difference in this one, and it may be 7-0. But ultimately that's why I went with Springfield. Is they have at least one guy that they can go to make plays, and I'm not sure if Portland feels confident enough that they have a guy that they can go to and make plays consistently.
I think Portland wins when they can take advantage of mistakes. And if Springfield makes enough mistakes, then they could find themselves in trouble. I think that the early mistakes that they made are things that coach is getting taken care of. Coach Dustin Wilson's getting taken care of. Cam, you said it. C.J. Cobbins. He is a difference maker on the field, and you can move him to just about any position, and he can score from there. Yeah, that's the reason I picked Springfield. I think that they have the one dynamic player that can make a change.
Yeah, just go grind it out and keep the ball on the ground as much as possible, and don't make any mistakes. And this feels like a Dustin Wilson special to me. It's one of those games where you don't turn the ball over, you don't commit penalties, and you just have a solid ground game leading you. I think it's what Springfield does, and I think they take care of business against Portland. That brings us to our spotlight game. It's Smith County at East Robertson. We're all on East Robertson except for Reggie. But before we get to his pick, we'll talk about this amongst yourselves. 64.2% of the fans say the Indians are going to win this one. I mean, this is really for this region title in 2A. I think it's in Region 4 of 2A. A good matchup here, though. Good matchup here, because you've got all the skill players of East Robertson, and then this Smith County team that does have some talent of its own to counteract it. Let's break this one down real quick, guys.
We're about to be billboard material, boys.
Yeah, we definitely are. I mean, well, and the thing that East Robertson should be looking at, and the thing that scares me a little bit about this game, is the game they have with Macon County. Macon County has dynamic players. Gabe Borders and the 2 other running backs that they've got, the dynamic players. and that was a 6-3 game with Smith County having a chance to win the game. If I'm East Robertson, that concerns me. But that being said, I don't quite think that Macon County has quite the same type of athletes that East Robertson has, and I think that East Robertson can make enough plays to get on the board, and I think it's going to be important for them to get on the board early, and try to force Smith County into doing things they don't want to do. I don't know if that's possible with Matt Dyer, but you got to try, right? And for that, for that reason, I think that I'll stand with Isaiah Groves and
Elijah.
and those guys. Yeah, Elijah. I think that team is ready to win this, and this will put them on the. I think this will put them on the inside track in this region.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Gabe Borders, and Gabe is a great player, a great athlete. But ultimately, when you look at it, does he have any SEC offers? The Groves kids are on another level, and it's almost unfair to 2A teams. And I know everybody says this about East Robertson, and yeah, I'm gonna give Matt. I'm giving you everything you need right here, okay, buddy? Listen up. The matchup that's going to determine this game is Javi Gaspar versus Zach Groves is what's going to determine this matchup. Because if Zach Groves is in the backfield all night, Smith County will struggle to move the football. It's that simple. East Robertson is not. They're going to have a hard time moving the football, but they can do it multiple ways. They can run, pass, special teams, etc. Now, the reason I went with East Robertson, if you look at both these teams, East Robertson 3 weeks ago struggled against Monterey. 2 weeks ago, they struggled against Sycamore. Last week, they come out and they were smooth sailing. Smith County, they lose in overtime 6-3. Only are able to put up 3 points offensively against Macon County. Last week, they beat Trouser County 27-7. But how many of those points would they have had if Trouser County didn't give them the ball at the 10-yard line and didn't throw a pick six? So ultimately, the Smith County offense has been struggling the last couple of weeks, and therefore I went with East Robertson. Although I do think that this one could be high scoring because I do think that Smith County can open some things up on the inside. They cannot try to get to the edges against this team.
If it's high scoring, though, this is East Robertson's game to lose. Smith County does not want to turn this into a track meet. You keep the Groves kids off the field. You slow this game down with your offensive line. You punish them. You take 7-8 minutes off the clock. You keep them off the field. Can they do that? Sure. Do I think they'll do that? No. I think Isaiah Groves, I could be wrong. I don't think he's going to rush for 220, 230 yards this week. Now, if he rushes for 150, 160 and a couple scores, and then you get the ball to Elijah Groves on the outside, who is a matchup nightmare for, I think, anybody that Smith County has, I think that's going to be enough for East Robertson to really kind of pull away late. This was the hardest game for me to pick just because I think they're so drastically different. Smith County's going to pound the ball down your throat. East Robertson's going to – if East Robertson can get – if they win the coin toss at the game start of the game and they get the ball first, they're going to accept it because they want to go out there and put some points on the board fast and put Smith County behind.
Yeah, and one more quick thing I will add. Last week, one area of opportunity for East Robertson is the Smith County secondary. Gordonsville beat them a couple times deep in the first game of the season, and then last week, a Trouser County team that historically does not pass the football. They, as I was saying around town, used to be, we're going to throw it 30 times. 27 of them are going to be in warmups. So a team that does not pass the football and a quarterback making his third ever start at quarterback threw for 130 yards against them last week. So that is an opportunity with the freshman for East Robertson. I believe his name is Colin Young. Huge game. That's another storyline right there, guys. Colin Young, freshman. Riley Martin, freshman. There's 2 freshman quarterbacks going against each other in this one, so that's another storyline here.
Yeah, for those of you at home, if you're watching this game on TV Friday night, which is the TV game of the week, so you'll get to see this all play out on the screen in front of you. And I can imagine Matt Dyer just screenshotting this and saying, "Boys, they did it again. They picked against us again. Gosh darn, every time they do it." That's kind of what he would say to him.
He recorded Cam talking 100%. I hope he did.
No
Yeah.
doubt. No doubt. He's not dumb. He's not dumb.
Matt, it's because you scored on the last play of the game.
Oh, he had to throw that out there. Yeah, he had to throw that. If Smith County can keep this game in the teens, they'll win it. But if they can't, if this thing gets in the 20s, in the low 30s, I think it favors East Robertson. It's just they want to play a low-scoring game. They can win it in the muck. But if it gets to a track meet, I don't like their chances. But if Smith County wins this game in front of me, I'll do what I do and I'll apologize in person. You know how I am.
I think there's one team in 2A right now that can keep up offensively with East Robertson, and they're out in West Tennessee. So it's right now East Robertson's looking real good.
Yep. Well, we've heard from us now, and it's Reggie's turn to make his pick.
Come here, Reg. Okay. Who we going with? Well, it looks like it's right off the bat. Reggie, in a stunning upset, because he doesn't like owls, they try to eat him, picks Smith County.
That's not a joke.
So Reggie has 3 told you so's this week. And we look like dummies again.
I just want it to be known, I was never a cat person until my cat adopted me a few years ago. This reiterates why.
Hey, I got to live with him. His head's about this big now. He just kind of looks at me and bring me food, pet me when I feel like it. Otherwise, I'm going to go cloth the door.
Remember the date, September 20th, 8:17 p.m. It's the time where we all look like idiots. Reggie made us look like idiots. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
God.
All right, Smith County, you've got a backer this week, so don't say we didn't give you anything. On to the recap screen, so we can
3 of them.
pull this train back. Pull this train back into the station.
There's 3 of them. He's gonna go 10. Watch him go 10-0.
If he
There's
does,
actually, let's see here.
if
1,
he does, he's picking my lottery tickets for me next week.
No
2,
kidding.
3.
4.
There's 4 of them.
There's 4.
4.
Of them. He took Antioch.
Oh my God.
You can't laugh, fans, because he's beating you too.
Yeah.
Yes. That's the best part. Okay, let's recap this real quick before we get out of here. Reggie's told you so attempts are like this: Antioch over Stewart's Creek, Gallatin over Green Hill, Nolensville over Centennial, and Smith County over East Robertson. The rest of them were all split on them. Reggie and Cam have Beach over Hendersonville. The rest of us are on the Commandos. We're all on Clarksville over Dixon County. The fans are going with East Nashville. Everybody else is with FRA. Scott's got Middle Tennessee Christian over Friendship Christian. The rest, so does Reggie, by the way, and the rest of us are on Friendship Christian. Scott's got Ravenwood over Independence. The rest of us, Reggie's got Ravenwood over Independence. The rest of us have the Eagles, and we are all across the board on Springfield over Portland. And I need to take a break.
And I just want to say, I made my picks before he did, so I did not copy up for Richie.
Well, at least you're honest.
I don't believe you.
I don't believe you. You lie.
You sit on a throne of lies.
I'm gonna start getting this guy to make my picks.
There
He
you
knows.
go.
He
See?
knows.
See, There's competition for Reggie now. What
I
can
don't
we
know.
do with
He's not.
that?
He's not very smart. So
Reg, the young ones are coming after your gig.
There you go.
It's like a Star is Born.
Guys, fun show. Fun show. We may have outdone ourselves this week.
good
Yeah.
week ahead.
Good show.
Good week ahead.
Like, one more word before we turn it loose.
Yeah.
Thanks, Matt.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, my cat's being dumb. The knee pad thing, it frustrates me. Again, I don't blame the referees. It should be handled so much more, but let the kids be themselves. Let them wear eye black. Let them wear towels. Let them do their own things. Feel good, play good. It's just dumb. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, sorry. It's amazing how little we got away with, back in the '80s when I played. We didn't quite have. Of course, I guess we didn't know better. Referenced by the few brain cells I have left. But anyway, hey, we are really close to our 1,000 subscriber mark on YouTube, and we really could use your help. We're trying to get over that. We have a giveaway coming up. I'm sure Cam will make more details, but honestly, when you guys follow us or you spread the word and have other people do it, it helps us out a lot, and we appreciate that. We appreciate you. We appreciate fans like Matt and Wyatt and Lauren. You guys interacting with us, Marcelli. All of you, the coach plays. All of you mean a lot to us. We love interacting with you. We love seeing you at games. If you see us at a game, come up and say hello. It makes us feel good when you tell us you watch the show. Tell us what we can do better. Tell us, I'm sorry, but if you keep telling Chris to sack me, it's not going to work. But anyway, we do appreciate you. And we appreciate our sponsors. Thank you for allowing us to do this every week.
Oh,
There you
Something that Scott was saying. We do have a giveaway. It is 2 lower bowl tickets to a Nashville Predators game coming up September the 27th. So if we meet our goal of 1,000 subscribers before Saturday, we will do that giveaway Saturday on the Scoreboard Show. So as of right now, there's 15 of y'all watching on YouTube. We're 18 subscribers away. So if there's any of y'all 15, it's 100% free to subscribe to YouTube. So subscribe to our YouTube to enter the sweepstakes, and we will announce a winner, and we will send that over to you guys. But yeah, we do this 100% for free. Getting us to 1,000 subscribers allows us to keep everything free to you, the viewer and consumer. So we take pride in not hiding behind a paywall. So please help us to keep it that way.
Can't say any better myself. No, if you're watching, hit that like button, please. It helps us out tremendously. No, it gets us distributed, the algorithm and all that it does. We want to get ourselves out there to more people so more people can watch the show like you guys do and interact with us. And sincerely, thank you for all the interaction. It's been fun this week. It's been a good show. Like I said, I think we outdone ourselves this time. I'm sure we'll have to apologize to some more teams next week. Thank you all for tuning in to the Midstate 48 presented by Miracle Auto Group. We're back 9 o'clock Saturday morning with the Scoreboard Show. We'll have our coaches' interviews and player interviews and all the highlights from the games that we're covering. And hope you join us in. So for Scott, for Joe, and for Cam, I'm Chris. Have a great rest of the week. Enjoy the games on Friday, and we'll see you soon.